Hello and welcome to another installment of the Bygone Times. Today we are going to take a look at this little Wave Crest pin dish. So in a previous video we looked at the definitive Wave Crest collector's book written by Cohen in 1987. And there we talked a little bit about the history of Wave Crest and its maker, C.F. Monroe, who was a man who started a glass company. We won't rehash it all, but basically C.F. Monroe was in the business of making glassware, art glassware, fine glassware from 1890 to the 19-teens. And their hallmark product was Wave Crest, along with the derivatives Nicara and Kelva. So we'll just get now right into this little pin dish. So this would have sat maybe on a dresser or near a sewing area, and women could put their hairpins in here, or you could put sewing pins in it as well, so that they didn't go all over the place. Those are typically small items, and they kind of get lost. It might go into feet or hands or mouths if you had children running around. So one thing about this piece is that it is missing the liner. So most Wave Crest pieces, bowls and dishes in particular, and even the bigger boxes, unless they were cracker boxes or cookie boxes or something, had usually pretty thick satin lining in the bottom, and that kept the items that you put in there from rolling around, and just added an extra bit of opulence to the piece. And many times that liner or that lining is missing. As it is in this case, you'll find a lot of pieces with like straggly remnants of the lining where it's torn or ripped. Sometimes it's just completely gone. There are some small possibilities, since it's completely gone in this case, that it never was lined. But most of the ones that you see that are complete do have the lining. Now, why the lining is so often missing, I don't know. And I suppose some of the ones that do have the lining have been repaired, but there are still quite a few pieces running around out there with the original lining. So this one's missing that lining, and we'll call it missing and not never had it. But you can see the top brass work is in nice shape. This is usually some sort of pot metal, and this may be actually brass, or brass plated or something like that. And so it didn't tarnish too poorly. You can see a little patina there. I don't think this has been polished. The underside is pretty shiny, but that does not match the top. And so typically if someone were going to polish a piece, they would do the parts that showed, and these don't show. So I think these are just saved from the wear a bit. And then you can actually see on some of these Wave Crest pieces that have a little bit of texture to them, and we'll talk about the texture in a minute. You can see some of the, we'll call it patina, some of the dirt and grime that's collected on the surface over the years. If you run into a piece like this, don't attempt to clean it. I mean, you can rub it lightly with your finger or a light cloth to remove loose debris, but if you try to clean that dirt off, or like those little scratches there, then you're probably going to damage the finish and may even take off some of the underlying coloring. Now we can see here that this piece is not marked. Typically a Wave Crest marking would land here. There are a couple of different markings that you might see on pieces like this. One is kind of a red marking that says Wave Crest, and it has a banner, and it's pretty fancy. And then one is more of a block letter setup that would be stamped directly onto the glass. And then sometimes you'll see stickers that will have Wave Crest and CF Monroe on them. This one is not marked. Could have had a sticker, but a lot of them just weren't marked. However, there's very little doubt that this is Wave Crest. I mean, it has all the telltale signs. It's very satiny. You can see it's basically milk glass. You can see my fingers through it, but the satin finish has been applied using an acid bath of some sort. And then it has the enamel painting and the brass gold accents. But most importantly, this particular piece has one of CF Monroe's personal favorite designs in it, and that is this kind of swishing, swirling pattern that flashes across the entire side surface of the pen dish. He developed this himself, although he was not a glass maker. He developed the design and then commissioned glass makers to create this for him, and he actually patented it, the design of this swirl, and you'll find it in all kinds of Wave Crest pieces, and it's called the Helmschmeid Swirl. At some point I knew why it was called Helmschmied. I don't at this point. Might be worth looking up. But again, you'll find that it's a telltale mark of Wave Crest. CF Monroe patented that design element. And you'll find it on large boxes and vases and these little pen dishes and just all kinds of different pieces. You'll find the Helmschmeid Swirl with Wave Crest. So there's no doubt that this is a piece of Wave Crest. Now in terms of value, any long-time collectors, especially people who are collecting or are interested in Wave Crest and various other art glasses in the 80s and 90s, will probably be disheartened to hear this, but these have kind of fallen out of favor and on hard times. You can find these on places like eBay and Etsy and different places for a wide range of prices. Sometimes they're just shown as kind of art pieces or kitschy pieces or whatever. And I've seen selling prices ranging from $20 up to a little over $100. And it's prime in the 80s and probably early 90s. This might have been a $200 piece, and that was in 1985, $1990, not $25. So it's more of a collectible these days, but for anyone who was there when these really rose to prominence in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, they're still beautiful pieces and definitely a reminder of the bygone times. So there's our Wave Crest pen dish with the Helmschmeid Swirl. Hope you've enjoyed, and thank you for watching.